The Bengals once again took a lead into halftime, but the ending did not disappoint like usual. We talk about it, the most impressive win in the Zach Taylor era. Plus,
as I saw that ball in the air, everything was going through my head, just like, this is it. I'm going to catch it, I'm going to win, and we're going to keep rolling.
The Bombers are one of several Cincinnati high school teams rolling into the state semifinals. We break down some of the matchups to watch with our guy Mike Dyer. And the Bearcats dominate again in conference play against the team that gave them trouble a year ago. Just how far can this team go? I'll ask Justin Williams.
From WCPO 9 Sports, this is Sports of All Sorts.
What up? Welcome to Sports of All Sorts. I'm Reggie Wilson. We'll get to the Sunday glee shortly, but we start with the biggest story of the week. The Bengals' relationship with their veteran players under Zach Taylor has been a little rocky. Remember last year when Andy Dalton got benched? He was frustrated by how it was handled. And the week-to-week saga around A.J. Green last year grew tiresome for all interested parties. Then there's the situation with Carlos Dunlap. His frustrations this season with his role on the team boiled over last week. Now he's a former Bengal. Dunlap was traded to the Seattle Seahawks for offensive lineman B.J. Finney and a 7th-round pick. The defensive end spent 11 seasons in Cincinnati and had 82.5 sacks. Although things ended sourly, his former teammates will miss him.
I think the world of Carlos is still a mentor to me. A guy I could talk to and pick his brain when he was here. When I got to Cincinnati, he definitely helped me out.
Dunlap posted this video on his Instagram the day he was traded, removing his nameplate from his parking spot at the facility. Head coach Zach Taylor complimentary of his former pass rusher on his way out.
Carlos has done some great things for this organization and for the community here, and he deserves to go out the right way. Again, it's just because you can have a disagreement and be frustrated doesn't mean that you can't do stuff like that, and I wish the best for him.
He'll go down as one of the best Bengals of all time, the franchise leader in sacks in the modern era with 82.5. The John Brannon is entering year 2 with UC as the reigning conference champs. Senior guard Keith Williams will lead the Bearcats this season, a team with 7 new faces.
I've been pretty excited so far what I've seen, and usually I hate my teams right now. But I really like these guys a lot.
Hate is such a strong word. Meanwhile, Xavier is picked to finish 7th in the Big East this season. Paul Scruggs is the main ticket for the Musketeers this season. Just how many tickets are sold at the Cintas Center this year is still up for discussion, though.
Obviously love to have a packed house and have that advantage and that we usually have here on our home court. But, this year it is what it is, but we don't know the exact number yet. I would say it's not going to be a lot, though. I know that.
Back to the game. Bengals hosting the Titans, and most people probably thought, oh, brother. But first quarter in the red zone, Ryan Tannehill is picked off by Jesse Bates to end the threat. Bates said the price is going up. Bengals finally capitalized. No Joe Mixon again, so it's Samaje Perine jamming up the gut for the touchdown. It's 10-0 after a Titans score. The Bengals keep applying pressure. Gio Bernard shot out of a cannon for 6. Cincinnati takes a 17-7 lead into halftime, just waiting on the other shoe to drop, right? Well, fourth quarter, same score. Burrow hooks up with Tyler Boyd for the TD. It's 24-7 now. Big energy. Tennessee comes back and scores, and it's like, here we go again. But Burrow leads a masterful drive that ends with this touchdown pass to Gio Bernard, and that'll do it. What a response after a turbulent week. Burrow goes 26 of 37, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Big hat tip to the offensive line, no sacks. The Bengals win 31-20.
This is the expectation. They're happy. We're excited. We earned this. We needed it, especially going into a bye because these players have done everything we've asked them to do, and the reward hasn't been in the win column. They needed it, but to say that anyone is shocked, it would be untrue because the guys know that we've been capable of this all along.
We don't feel like a 1-5 football team. 1 or 2 plays go our way over the last couple weeks, and we're 6-2 right now, 7-1. But that we didn't make those plays until today, and it feels good to make them.
Feels good, right? Back with me to talk Bengals is Bengals all-time leading scorer Jim Breach and former Bengals cornerback Rodney Heath. Fellas, how we doing?
Very well, Reg. Very well. Nice win tonight.
All right, so the Bengals put together their most complete performance of the season. How good is that win today? We'll start with Jim.
When you're 1-5, 1-5-1, it's a huge win. And the other thing is they closed it out. We know how much struggle they've had, as Joe referred to the plays that they could have had to have a 6-6 record or whatever. So closing it out, I think, is the biggest thing. And really proud of the way they did that. And, you know, offense, defense, special teams all contributed.
What's up, Rodney?
Well, I mean, that's some of the things that Jim said is so key. I mean, for those guys to finally get into the win column, well, not the win column, but to finish the game. That's one of the things. The last couple of weeks, they've been going into the second half with the lead and fourth quarter with the lead. We're able to finish it against a very good team. So that's positive bye week.
All right, how about the offensive line? 4 or 5 starters out, no sacks allowed, gave the backs some room to run. You guys have to be impressed by what you saw.
I mean, next man up.
Yeah.
You know? So next man in. That's what they're expected to do when you got some guys that they pick up from different teams and, you know, getting out there and playing football because that's what they're expected to do. So that's great to see.
How about Spain? He was in the huddle shaking hands with guys because he was just meeting them for the first time and doing unbelievably.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all right, we can't say enough about Joe Burrow. He's getting better every week. And today, after the game, he said he's looking forward to the bye week so he can do absolutely nothing. And understandable because the staff has put a lot on his shoulders. How would you assess his performance through 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ron.
All right, well, I would say, dude, I would give him, if we're talking about a grade, I really think he'd grade with a B, easily B minus. I mean, he did great. Whereas he took everything that was thrown at him. He was still able to be successful, you know, in pass yards, QB rating. I mean, he's showing that he's the right pick and the right guy for the job. So, you know, they keep protecting him and get a run game, keep the run game going. He's going to be fine.
I'd probably give him an A minus. I'll give him an A minus because they haven't won some of those games. But what the expectation may have been for a rookie quarterback at the beginning of the year, he's exceeded everything. Mm-hmm. And it's really great to see. And the offense is really gelling well. They just have to put the rest of the game together, the defense, special teams.
Absolutely. So this is a big confidence builder going into a bye to get a big win today. Is this one of those turning the corner wins for this franchise?
I don't know about that. I mean, each week is kind of an individual week. Now, if they were to go out in 2 weeks and do that to Pittsburgh, then I would say yes. But this was a great win against a really good team.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I thought going into this game, some people probably weren't given a chance because they felt like Tennessee had a very good offense and running game, and the defense would have issues. But actually, the offense flipped and made Tennessee's defense look, you know, lesser defense. And, you know, the old thing of saying that best defense is a better offense. So, you know, they can keep these things going. And I think they can pull some wins out that we might not think they can win.
All right, so the Bengals get a much-needed week off, as Joe Burrow said earlier. So that means I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. So you guys take care until then.
Thanks, Reg.
Hey, take it easy, Reg. See you later, Jim.
See you, Ronnie.
All right, the Bearcats are dancing like hip-hop Harry and friends after every game this season, asking, who's next? Coming up, we break down Saturday's dominating performance over Memphis and explore just how much better can this team be. Plus,
whenever I played, I felt like I was a coach on the floor, and I still tell some of my players they can call me Sid if they want to.
Sidney Moss is one of the best hoopers to ever put on a Thomas More uniform. Coming up, how the game has come full circle back in NKY. Welcome back. College basketball returns to the sports calendar, and at Thomas More, a familiar face is back to help lead the women's basketball program. Keenan Singleton has the story.
What do you get the player who has it all? Sydney Moss did it all at Thomas More. 2 national titles, National Player of the Year, and her jersey hangs at the school's Hall of Fame. Yet Moss still felt she had more to give. So what do you get the player who has it all? How about a job?
Kind of was waiting for that phone call.
After 4 years away from Crestview Hills, Moss is ready to forge ahead. Now as an assistant coach with the Saints.
It was an easy phone call to Coach Moss now, and it worked out. And I'm happy that she's here. I know she's happy to be back at Thomas More. And
Jeff Hans' coaching tree is really beginning to bear fruit. Besides Sydney Moss, Abby Owens and Madison Temple from that 2016 national title team have also joined the coaching ranks. She's always felt like Coach Moss. It's just official now.
I felt like whenever I played, I felt like I was a coach on the floor. And I still tell some of my players they can call me Sid if they want to, just because some of them know me. So it takes them a little bit getting used to call me coach.
This isn't her first coaching position. She's worked at both the high school and collegiate levels the last 4 years. She took the lessons learned under Hans to each stop. But even the player who did it all still had her doubts.
I felt like whenever I played, I was very not negative towards others, but negative in my head. As a coach, I feel like I got to verbally communicate that, hey, you got the next shot. Just be very positive with them.
Now she's ready to share all she's learned with the next generation of Saints. She still has more to give.
My biggest thing was basketball was my outlet. I knew I could always pick up a basketball and get to my happy place, get out of my head and just hoop. So I hope that I can pass that on to them and understand, hey, no matter what's going on off the court, you have a family within the team, and you can always pick up a basketball and get out of your head.
Keenan Singleton, WCPO 9 Sports.
Thanks, Keenan. Let's go back to the gridiron. The Bearcats once again came out and flexed against a conference opponent, snapping a 5-game losing streak to Memphis with a dominant 49-10 victory. Desmond Ritter looked really good for the second straight week. 21 of 26 for 271 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also added 2 scores on the ground. And UC improves to 5-0 this season, sitting at the top of the AAC, good enough to move up another spot to number 6 in the latest AP poll. Another statement from the Bearcats in conference play. Joining me to talk about it with these red-hot Bearcats is Justin Williams from The Athletic. Justin, second straight week dominating a good AAC opponent. How impressive is this Bearcats team?
I think we knew this defense was going to be good coming into the season. We talked a lot about it. They were pretty hyped up. They've probably exceeded those expectations, especially in the past 2 weeks. What they did against SMU and Memphis. Those are 2 really good offenses that they've just completely shut down. So you look at that, that's an area of strength we expected coming in. That's probably even stronger than we thought. And then the biggest key the past 2 weeks has been, the way the offense has turned around, and that's really Desmond Ritter. I mean, he ran crazy on SMU, and then against Memphis, it was really balanced. I mean, I'd have to look back, but it's definitely his best passing game this season, and maybe one of his better balanced games that he's had in his 3 years, just in terms of he had 3 passing touchdowns, 2 running touchdowns. That's had 1 interception, but it was inconsequential. It was a deep ball that, didn't hurt him or anything like that. He took care of the ball. They put up 49 points. He was able to do it with his legs and his arm. When they're playing like that, it's going to be tough to beat them.
You mentioned Desmond Ritter. He said the game is slowing down for him and he's just having fun. Certainly looks like it, Justin.
Yeah, and I think the last 2 weeks have shown this. Confidence is big for him. He's one of those guys, if the game starts out well, he can kind of keep it moving. So last week they put together a big drive to start. And, it was throwing the ball, but he was scrambling, made it some easy completions. He's able to get his confidence up. But if you look – same way this week against Memphis, if you look back at the USF game where he really struggled, second play of the game, throws an interception, and it was just kind of deep downhill from there. So I think – the game plans, you have to give a lot of credit to Mike Denbrock, Gino Guidugli, and their offensive game plans the last 2 weeks, because they've made it easy on Des. They've given him easy completions. They've given him some freedom to take off and run. And I think once he gets those first 1 or 2 drives, whether they score touchdowns or not, if he's completing passes, the offense is moving the ball, it just helps him play so much better the rest of the game and gives him that confidence to take off when he needs to make the reads that he needs to. So, it might not always be that simple, but especially against, a Memphis team that had a pretty poor defense, getting them going early just set the tone.
The Bearcats are now tied for the highest ranking for a Group of 5 school in the college football playoff era. What's the ceiling for this team?
They have put themselves in the conversation for all of that stuff, for a conference title, for going undefeated, for kind of crashing that college football playoff. Now they have to get to that point still. They have to beat UCF on the road. They got to win 3 straight games on the road to finish the regular season. They're going to have to play a conference title game that'll probably be a rematch from one of these better, SMU, Memphis, UCF. But if they're able to do all of that stuff and get to 11-0, I don't know how you couldn't at least have them in that conversation for a college football playoff. So if we're talking ceiling, that's the ceiling. It's not guaranteed. It's not going to be a cakewalk to get there, but they're already the 6th ranked team in the country. It's not inconceivable they could be a top 5 team next week with Clemson and Notre Dame facing off. And if you're a top 5 team and you go undefeated and win your conference championship, I don't care if you're a Group of 5 or not. The way the American has performed the past couple of years, Cincinnati would deserve to be in that college football talk. But as Luke Fickell always says, it's how you got to do it first. It's how you get to the end of the season, how you finish that matters. So it'll be a little ways to get there. But if they do, they're right there.
A little coach speak at the end. I see you. Justin, thanks for hanging out.
Absolutely. Thanks, Reggie.
So I want to hear from you. After another dominating win, will the Bearcats run the table and make the college football playoff? Tweet me at Reggie Wilson TV and make sure to use the hashtag SOAS. The high school football playoffs roll on in Ohio, and we're down to the 4 best teams in the top 3 divisions. Coming up, we tell you what to look forward to with next weekend's matchups. Welcome back. The high school football season is coming to a close, and as the stakes get higher, the games are getting better and better. Joining me to talk about it is our high school insider, Mike Dyer. Mike, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Reggie. Always appreciate the conversation.
So you and I were both at that St. X Lakota West game. Bombers made the clutch play to pull it out at the end. What were your impressions of that one?
Brogan Mackay didn't have his best night, there at quarterback for St. X, and Brogan even admitted that to you. But certainly that offensive juggernaut that the Bombers have had all season, it showed that one play made the difference. And you just let Liam Clifford run that corner route to the end zone, and Brogan got him the ball and a perfect pass and catch. And you could hear the air kind of come out of the Lakota West side in terms of just such a deflating feeling, because the Firebirds thought that, they were 30 seconds away from a regional championship. But it just shows you that, the overused cliche of classic game was certainly appropriate in this case, though, because this was a fantastic football game.
So St. X against Springfield is one of the state semifinal matchups, but in Division II, Region 8, we have a heavyweight matchup between LaSalle and Winton Woods. Warriors missed out last year, and the Lancers went on to win it all. How good is this game going to be?
Oh, it's fantastic for head coach Andre Parker. Obviously getting a share of the Eastern Cincinnati Conference title. Everybody knows Winton Woods was an independent for such a long time. But going back to last season, you mentioned that, Reggie. I was there at Lancer Stadium when Winton Woods defeated LaSalle in the regular season, and we thought that would maybe be the difference in getting Winton Woods a playoff berth. And Mayan Williams had such a fantastic game, and but unfortunately for the Warriors, they missed out on the playoffs by just fractions of a point. So, and LaSalle went on to win the state championship, obviously, in 2019. So here we are, seeing this matchup again. I just think it's just going to be fantastic. You talk about LaSalle's secondary gets a lot of attention. Zach Brenham, their outstanding senior quarterback, has been there. But the other side of Winton Woods, senior quarterback Michael Wingfield, 3-year starter. He's been there. He's done that. That defense is playing lights out from Winton Woods as well. They have so many players that are talented on both sides of the ball. So I think it's going to be a fun atmosphere in Forest Park on Friday night.
Mike, I want to talk a little bit about Ross going up against perennial power Alter on Friday. But how cool is it just for them to be a couple games away from a state championship?
Oh, it's great for head coach Kenyon Cummins, the entire community there in Butler County that supports the Ross Rams. They've never been in this position before. I mean, they earned their first playoff victory earlier this postseason, and I give Coach Cummins a lot of credit, him and his staff, really doing a great job with this program. And they run the triple option offense. It's as tough as nails type of team, and they defeated Bellbrook in convincing fashion this weekend. Great effort from their senior fullback Jackson Gifford. 32 carries for 241 yards. Their quarterback C.J. Bowes has had an outstanding season, and you mentioned Alter. They're a perennial favorite from the Dayton area, and people know about the talent that they've had year in and year out. But Ross is able to host this regional final on Friday night, and what a great opportunity for the Rams to win a Division III region title.
Mike, these conversations are always fun, and as always, I appreciate your insight.
Thanks, Reggie. Appreciate you.
We'll be right back to wrap up the show. Welcome back. Well, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun, but we got to go. I'd like to thank my guests Jim Breach, Rodney Heath, Justin Williams, and Mike Dyer for joining me tonight. And thank you to my village who helped me put this all together. Thank you for watching. Let's do it again next Sunday. Until then, have a good night and a very blessed week.